So today we are going to be making a waist belt out of an old pair of pants. So what you're going to need is an old pair of pants. I chose a dingy green color. You're going to want to cut one leg from the crotch all the way down to the bottom of the pants. You're going to need a well-inked pen, scissors, a straight edge, I lost my ruler, hot glue gun and sticks, or a needle and thread. I might use a mixture of both. Now, I already have a corset belt that I will just mimic the shape and length of. If you don't, you can simply make a pattern out of a long sheet of paper. I glued 2 pieces of paper together. Making a pattern is not hard. Just take up your measurements, draw the shape you want, cut it out, fold it in half, and boom, you've got a pattern. But that is not this video. So, I'm going to take my pair of pants, along with my pen and straight edge, and I am just going to trace out my corset that is already pre-made. Now, this one has ribbon in the middle. I'm undecided about if I'm going to cut my homemade waistband in half and put ribbon, shoestring, or whatever in the middle. I think I most likely will put a ribbon in the middle because I have some black ribbon over there somewhere. So, I'm going to start tracing this out. Now, you can do 1 layered waist belt or 2 layered. Because I have 2 pants, 2 pant legs, I'm gonna do 2 layered waist belt. And that way I can have some thickness and firmness when I'm putting it on. I'm gonna trace it out, cut through both layers of the pant, and then use the other pant leg for the elastic and to seal the ends. So I'm gonna do that and I'll be right back. So here is the outline of my corset belt. I also took the liberty of adding the 5 dots on each side between the gap and the elastic band. I'm not going to be using elastic, I'm just going to be using more pant fabric once again, but that is perfectly okay. Now I'm going to cut this out and grab my ribbon. Alright, so I have cut out my fabric. I forgot to mention before, be sure to leave room for seam allowance. That is very important. On the inside of mine, I absolutely did. As you can see, there's the line I drew, and there's where I cut. I'm also going to put some holes into this before I finish putting on the rest of the fabric. And I measured it, and this comes almost to the middle of my back, which is fantastic, but I need a little bit more fabric and a closure on there. So from the pant leg that I cut the waist belt out from, I have more fabric, and I have more than enough fabric here to cut along this width here, all the way down, and create a longer back for myself. And I can either put holes in the ends of these and stick the fabric through and tie it together in the back, or you could put ribbon there, or you could put something there, or you could get some eyelet closures like this and install them yourself. But I am out of those closures, so I'm probably just going to finesse it with some extra fabric. But as of right now, I'm going to put the holes in here. I'm going to cut out the middle section, put some holes in it, and put the ribbon through. And then I'm going to probably sew up the edges, or maybe I'll just sew up the edges first. I guess we'll see. So I decided that before I cut this in half, before I add some extra fabric, I wanted the second piece, the back piece, the inside piece, not to be the same full length and not to be the same full size, so it wouldn't get in the way of the hemming, and so I wouldn't have to really focus on trimming it up perfectly or anything, because, well, it's not a perfect size either way I go about this. So I decided that I would just cut it smaller than the outside piece and just glue it in so that what is in front of my torso, what is in front of my belly will be nice and firm, nice and stiff in the middle, and supports well. So that's that. Okay, so so far I have hot glued the edges. I was going to sew them because it's not really that much to sew, but I only had 1 hot glue stick left, so I was like, well, I'll just use hot glue. And I've got some gaps here that I can fill in with super glue, because Sewing through hot glue is not fun. So I'm probably just going to fill that in with some super glue if I was really worried about it. Okay, and I've got my edges unfinished. They are unhemmed right now. They are unhemmed. So that's either going to be done with super glue, or I'm just going to bring out a needle and thread and get over it and sew it. But this is what the front is looking like so far. Can't really tell if it's even or not too much. It's a little uneven. But it's not the end of the world. It's probably not even going to be noticeable once I get it on. And as you can see, it is about the exact same size as my purchased waist belt. Now I'm going to add on the extra fabric to the ends and some way to close it in the back, and then I'm going to cut down the middle holes and ribbon. Okay, so I have glued the extra strap of fabric that meets in the back. I'm going to cut that in half, of course, so that I can tie it in the back, but I have glued it with some original super glue gel. I glued the piece of fabric into there, and then I folded over the edges with some extra glue to make sure that it was going to stay nice and sealed. I'm not really going to worry about hemming this back strap that gets tied because it's in the back and it doesn't really bug me too much or at all. I might hem up this area, probably. Depends on how I feel. So I'm going to cut this in half, and then I'm going to cut down the middle of the front. I'm going to cut the back strap in half, cut down the middle of the front, and apply my holes and put in my ribbon. Of course, I'm going to have to hem when I cut in the front too. So I'm going to work on that, and I will be back. Okay, so I have hemmed up some of the final edges except the part that ties in the back. I'm not worried about it. And now I have recreated the holes on the back of my waist belt, and now I'm going to install those holes. I'm just going to take a pair of scissors, fold over on the hole, and snip away at the fabric until a small hole is created. And then I'll be back. Alright, so I have created the holes in my waist belt, and this is the front and this is the back. Now I'm going to cut it in half and then add my ribbon in, and that will pretty much be it. Of course, you do not have to add the holes and cut it in half and add the ribbon, but I feel like it gives it a lot more detail if you do that. And it looks a lot more well professionally done, besides my unhemmed edges and the slight offness of the shape. Well, that's what I get for rushing through it, sort of. But I'm gonna do that and I will be back. Alright, so I have cut my waist belt in half, and I have hemmed the inside of the edges with some more super glue, and now I'm going to be adding black ribbon because, well, that's all the ribbon I have. So that will be that, and I'll be back. Alright, so I put the ribbon in the belt, and I just did a crisscross pattern, and I cut the ribbon too short, and I couldn't tie it into a bow, but no biggie for me. And so this is the belt. I will put it on for you and show you. So that is that. That is how you make a waist belt out of an old pair of pants with a few materials. Thank you so much. If you like this, please give a big thumbs up, and don't forget to click subscribe. Thank you so much, and have a good day.